figure out. Okay. I got it. I figured it out. I try to sign in with my computer, which offers me a larger picture, but it didn't work. So I'm signing in with this little page on iPad. Which means I have to hold the iPad up in front of me. Which means I'm very stressed. No, I'm not. But I can only do 0 things at a time. You know, recently I've gotten several inquiries from people who would like to know how to meditate. And I don't know whether you guys know how to meditate. I know you've probably been practicing quite a bit of time, but it is the correct way. And by correct way, I mean the most effective way to stop the mind and to dwell in that spacious emptiness by learning how to rest in it. So I might as well repeat that. You never learn how to meditate in just a week or a month. It takes several years, really, to get a deep sense of what meditation is about. And I suggest things at times, what to do and so forth, but let's go over it, okay? How do I do it? I've been doing it a long time, for many, many, many thousands of hours. The way I do it now, I never would have thought of when I first started practicing. Because a lot of times spiritual teachers just say, meditate, leaving it totally up to you as to what you could be doing. The key is to transcend the mind. But you can't get to know how to do that until you've discovered emptiness in meditation and how to just rest there. So I'll do a guided meditation for a while to try to instruct the best ways to do these things. And the best way is to sit upwards, erect. Close your eyes halfway. Maybe sit in a corner of the room staring at the wall. If you do it lying down, you'll go to sleep without a doubt. So it's no use to try that at all, unless you've done it a long, long time. So you sit up with eyes half closed. So you're getting light at the bottom and all the rest of it above is darkness. And turn your attention around, away from the external world, towards yourself. And your goal should be to find the feeling, I am, that you exist, that you're alive. And merge into that. But don't get carried away by thinking about how to do this correctly. The whole thing is about relaxing. And as I put it, falling back into yourself. That's what it feels like, at least for me. Here I am sitting down. I have my choice. I can go get something to eat. I can watch television. I could go to satsang. I could read a book. But I don't read anymore. Almost everything said in books is absolutely useless to me. I don't read fiction anymore as entertainment. Your goal is to find that sense of being alive. And you might say, this is the I am. You locate, turn your eyes around. And at first, I actually physically tried that a lot by looking upwards at my forehead, the spot in the forehead here. But it really strains the eyes and doesn't make for relaxed sitting. Just sit. Set a clock or timer for 25 minutes or 30 minutes. Later on, you can do it for more minutes, but there's no sense in doing it wrong for a longer period of time. Sitting there with your eyes half closed. Turn your attention around. And by that, I mean pay attention only to I am. And see if it has a form, whether you have a form. I find very quickly doing this that my body freezes. It becomes statue-like. And I have no thoughts in my head. If I turn my attention around, because I can see out of the bottom of my just minorly open eyes, I see a visual world out there. But if I turn my attention to the darkness and then pretend in your imagination, turn around and face your body. And find that sense of existence inside yourself and rest there. That's good enough for 30 years of meditation. Just doing that It's a big achievement. But now when I sit, my mind goes away. I don't even notice it anymore. I don't notice much of anything anymore. I certainly don't think. I used to think when I first started practicing meditation and thought of all different ways to make my mind stop. But after a while, what I found out is now my voice drops. There was a clog right here. It may come back. So sitting like this, turn your attention around as if you're looking into the darkness within. Don't get too relaxed or you'll fall asleep, or else you'll slump over and your posture gets bent, and you don't want to do that. Because when you sit up strongly, and I can't do it in this chair because it's a recliner and it tends to make me recline. I mean, I feel I can't sit up straight because I have this back support, and just feels awkward to sit up straight so that my back is not touching the back of the chair. Now, when I first started practicing, I found that crossing my legs was extremely hard, painful. It took me several years before I could sit in a lotus position. I never did it very much because it hurt. Even after I did it for a while, it didn't hurt, but it felt a lot of muscle strain in my hips. So at first I sat in what is called seiza. It's where you sit on your heels on the floor. Because my legs could tolerate the stretching of the long, powerful muscle in the front of the legs, more than the twisting of the hips at various angles. And I was very intent on finding something, because otherwise, what's the point of closing your eyes and looking within? Is it just to enjoy the darkness? Or are you supposed to get something coming out of it? But the whole point of meditation is not to find anything or even look for anything. The point of meditation is to just feel yourself in that position and do nothing else. Your attention will automatically be drawn to your body, because that's the only kind of information you're getting in. With your eyes half closed or more than half closed, all that you're getting in is auditory signals. Braking cars, cars passing, somebody coughing, or somebody farting and you smell it. You know, it's really embarrassing when you're in a group of 35 or 40 people to fart, and everybody knows exactly where it came from, who did it. But you get used to that kind of embarrassment. Because the more you just rest within, the more and more relaxed you feel. You're no longer aware of the world, but you're aware of your body. You're aware of your mind. That's the first thing I find when I sit by myself, is my body sitting up. And I notice no thoughts are coming to me anymore. They used to come, gads of them, scads of them, numberless. But pay them no heed, they're not important. You're trying to get to the point where you can transcend thinking. And the only way you can do that is if the thoughts come, pay it no heed. Don't follow the thought. Just rest in yourself. Now that's where the real problem comes up, because you're saying rest in the self, and you're saying, what the fuck is the self? How do I find it? Where is it? Is it my chest, my heart, my stomach, my abdomen? Is it my legs? Where is it? But that's what you have to look for, in that emptiness. You're trying to find who you are. Who am I? And that question gives you no physical clues or really any kind of clue as to how to find the I sense. But you have an I sense, I guarantee it. But the thing is, our minds are so occupied with thinking about every imaginable thing. The mind makes us feel restless because it's restless. It's only after it's learned how to relax that it stops thinking. And you fall into a great sense of peace, a very deep peace, where you don't feel like doing anything, including watching anything or doing any activity that takes your attention. Instead, just feel your body. And for the time being, take that to be yourself. It's not, but I'm just trying to make it easy for you. Instead of struggling with your body in meditation for years until you learn how to relax, I'm just telling you the key is to relax and turn your attention away from the world towards yourself, which means your body and your mind, things you hear, things you see with that half open eye, and then continue to turn it backwards again. Now, I used to feel that I began a rapid descent into myself from the waking state of being oriented towards the external world to just dropping into the darkness within and finding out what that feels like. Now, as I do it, I feel a great sense of peace, and also my rumbling stomach from coffee that didn't taste too good this morning. So you sit doing nothing except being attentive to that blackness within. And you're going to have some hard time doing that, really. For me, it felt like when I first really knew how to begin meditation, that I was dropping from the center of my being, which is in my brain, where I'm always thinking or thinking about doing something or wondering what to do or watching television. I could literally feel as if my center of my attention, my locus of being, dropped from my brain through my throat, down my spine, and then it sort of disappeared into a vast emptiness. And that's what you want to find, is that vast emptiness. And just rest there. Just rest there. Now, this is all going to take time because your body's not used to sitting still in a rather strained position. And it's used, that position is used because once you get to know how to forget the body, you can leave your body behind and it will continue sitting straight and attentive, looking within. So turn your attention around from focusing on thoughts in the head to just watching without questioning, like, who am I or anything like that. I tend to think of who am I as a waste of time. What I find to be satisfying is to turn my attention around, to drop into my body, out of the mind, out of the head, my head, and it feels like the whole center of consciousness is dropping on a rapid elevator, going down to my gut area, and then everything disappears except my residual feeling of being a body. But even that is going to disappear. Adam was just hit by 2 buses. So when you see pictures of Ramana sitting in any position, and they've got photographs of him almost any position, you notice his face. He's completely rested. It may be like he looks like a jerk to you for being that way, but don't worry about what others are seeing, especially if you're sitting in the corner of the room alone. Don't worry about your appearance. What you should be worrying about, or at least attending to in any way, is feeling into that darkness within, into that silence within, and just resting there. As your meditation deepens, everything will sort of stiffen up. And you'll be sitting erect with no problems about balance or anything like that. It's like your body finds a new home sitting in that position. Now, one way you can help this is to imagine a stick of butter on your head. That gradually warms up. You can imaginatively do this. Picture a quarter pound of butter in a stick on your top of your head. And imagine the heat of your head begins to help melt the butter. And as it melts, it flows down the back of your head, the front of your head, and the side of your head. But you begin to follow it in your imagination and imagine it descending from your brain, filling up your body. In the process of sinking like that and sinking into the body, after a while, it gets almost instantaneous. And you don't have to do it anymore after a while in order to stop thinking. After you practice this for a while, you can just stop your thinking anytime you wanted to. You ignore the mind, not overuse your mind to find something. You're not looking for a particular nerve functioning or God coming down and touching you on the top of your head with a dynamic energy that awakens you. You just stay there doing nothing. Now, I had a hard time with that because I was a pretty active kid. And I vacillate between reading, studying, playing, and being at school. The point is to find out that in this whole process, you can't find the self within. The only thing you can do is to relax. Relax into your body. And the more relaxed you get, the stiffer your body becomes. And by that, I mean, you feel steadier and steadier and steadier. Therefore, the idea of sitting like a rock is born. The deeper you go into meditation, the less you experience. You don't see anything with your eyes closed, half closed, and looking into the corner of a room. You're not making your mind busy anymore. You're focusing on finding something you never looked for before or even thought of, which is exploring the emptiness inside yourself that you perceive when words are no longer there or important to you. One of the biggest findings you get along the way Is everything you've been doing in life till that point is not so important. Even science and physics, which was what I was most interested in, and economics, just lost their ability to attract my attention. And as I relaxed, I descended into my body. That's what it felt like. My center of attention was no longer in my head, but in my body, but especially my stomach area. My attention dropped to there. You can feel that. By the time your attention drops into the stomach area, you're sitting very powerfully, being aware of everything within you. But since the intent was to drop from your brain into your body, I spent many years finding out that the feeling I got of feeling stupid was a natural state. It's just that I interpreted it as feeling stupid. But in fact, it was something different, very different, because I lost interest in thinking altogether and in my mind altogether and in my body altogether. And my mind was motionless. And it could go anywhere and not disturb you, whoever you were. You begin to see things like that. Is the I am me? Does it feel like me? What part of me? Does it feel like a ghost inside of me? Does it feel like a separate entity in time inside of me? What is it? What am I looking for? Why the fuck should I be doing this? But if you begin to have your attention drop into your body, you don't question it anymore after a while. You find out that that state of emptiness, of attending to nothing, having a mind filled with nothing, but having still a slight awareness of your body and sitting there for a while, eventually you'll disappear. You'll be totally immersed in yourself, so to speak. So it's not a pinpoint kind of thing. It's not a blue pearl, not red pearl. It's not a dream. It's you. You're finally resting in yourself. And it begins to feel really wonderful to be descended into yourself and really loving that experience of being in an immense darkness, no longer aware of your body. Your attention can wander anywhere, but it doesn't. Your body doesn't want to move. Your mind doesn't want to move. You're in the perfect place for you. You feel solid as long as you have feelings. You feel aware. But you're not aware of anything in particular. Just aware of the thoughts coming and going, if there are any left. And for the longest time, like 40 years or better, I thought that there was something to obtain. But it's not that at all. It's about losing the ideas that you have of the world and yourself. And you stop judging. Because judging disturbs your peace and that inner, empty, large self inside of you. And this is how meditators are able to sit for long periods of time, because they have become so attached to the emptiness and the darkness, the peacefulness. And the peace is just unbelievable how deep it gets and how much happiness you feel when it gets there. And therefore the idea about bliss of meditation. But it's a new experience. You don't know really what to make of it. Because a lot of times it just makes you feel stupid in that state because you can't think. You become lost into that person you're investigating, which is you. Get lost in a certain part of you that you may seem to feel is existing. Or you may develop some pain in your back and you'll pay attention to that and you'll lose the state. But when you finally reattain the state, it's a state of complete rest in yourself. You're not interested in the world anymore. It all becomes meaningless to be attached to the world anymore, because the world can't give you the kind of peace you're feeling in meditation. Now, for me, right amount of meditation was like 3 meditation periods during a 3-hour sitting. Now, Roshi in a Zen monastery may give you a koan or one of those enlightenment experiences that earlier Zen masters had that you're trying to dwell on and hopefully taking you to that state, whatever the koan is about. Forget koans. They're just making it harder, really, to let go of everything. And that's what you're trying to do. That's the attitude you have. When you look inside, you're not looking for something. You're looking for escape from the world. And you're being attracted to the world, to life, to people. to pets. Have you followed me so far? Now, about 5 years ago, maybe less than that, after 40 or 50 years of sitting, I found out that I really enjoyed doing nothing. I didn't have to pass any tests anymore. I didn't have to go to school. I didn't have to turn up at work. You can do all those things and make progress, but it's harder because you're still being used to being active. And what this practice allows you to do is teaches you how to be able to do nothing. Become dumb as a rock. Become a nobody. And Jeremy Wheeler's doing that right now. He's just about disappeared. But you find that every day you begin to feel better and better because you're not driven by the tension in your mind to seek something or to find something or to understand something, or forced to work with your body, which really was make it meditation difficult. You can do it, but it's not very satisfying. It's too conflicting to be finding peace and finding peace and working for that. It gets to be a pain in the ass too. So you learn gradually to be easy on yourself. Don't force yourself to do anything. Just relax. Become a nobody. Become nothing. About half of the people here have dropped out and they've become nothing, I guess. Or maybe they're just fooling me into me thinking what a great student they are. And in the meantime, they're wondering what they should have to eat for dinner. And they're going over an internal list of foods that they could eat. Doing the things we always do when we have a rest interval, which is to think about what comes next, sort of to prepare for it, to get used to having stress again. But the key of meditation is finding stressless absorption in your inner darkness and the feeling of your body, which I call beingness. Because what is it like when your mind is silent and no words are there? And you just rest in that experience of being in meditation with eyes half closed. It's like you meet yourself for the first time. You begin to really feel yourself totally. You understand that being restless and being productive in the world is absolutely meaningless to you. You can do it as part of a job, but you know it's not a way to be. The way to be is being soft and relaxed, being aware of everything, including being aware of awareness itself. Now that's a hard meditation, to becoming aware of your awareness. But you have to try practicing that too. Gradually, you begin to see that the world doesn't mean that much to you anymore. Your wife or husband and kids are still important, but you wish they'd calm down a little bit and not be so wrapped up by their tasks in life, their occupation. Instead, just relax. And you'll notice your everyday life, you don't feel so much strain anymore. I did for even for 20 years of practicing. And I didn't like it. Increasingly, I felt at home in the peace I felt in meditation, as opposed to all the tension I felt when I had to do something in the world, or I got caught up thinking about what I should be doing or where I would be going. You find all of those mental activities are stressful, and you don't want that stress anymore. You want to let the mind go and just embrace that. It feels like inside you're lifting your arms up. You settle into your stomach and you feel free. You're no longer struggling to go deeper and deeper, which you do for the first few years. At this point, I'd like to ask if there are any questions. Did I miss something? I'm not done yet, but maybe you have an idea of what you want to hear next about meditation.
Eddie, it's Claudine. The one thing I can't, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
I'm on the top row in my computer.
What's your name again?
Claudine.
Trudy?
Claudine.
Claudine.
Yeah.
Why don't you learn how to speak English? Huh?
It's French.
Okay, what's the question?
I I can't relate to what you say about going backwards. I can go down through the top of my head, through my neck and into my body, into my heart and stomach.
That's fine.
I can't
What's
relate.
your experience when you do that?
Well, I'm getting further away from thinking until I stop thinking.
And what does that feel like?
Well, that feels great compared to thinking, yeah.
How does it feel great?
Because at the moment in my life, the outside life is so painful that I only want to go in, really. I don't want to go out. So,
And that's the main finding of meditation, is that being absorbed in the world really isn't so much. It's not what you're interested in anymore. You're interested in you and finding out what is at the heart of you. What is your prevailing experience? And you find your prevailing experience becomes a meditation experience of being nothingness, with no agenda, nowhere to go, nothing to do. And with that, that grows and grows into a great sense of peace and rest. Takes a long time to get there, though. At least it did for me, because my mind was very active. And I guess I had a lot of insecurities. So I had to examine all of those firsthand, because when you're sitting, there's nowhere to run away from thoughts. I mean, for normal people, they can drink or they can become a race driver, etc., whatever it is, to focus on something and not what's bothering them. But when you sit in meditation, it takes years to get to the place where you can ignore the world because you've lost interest in it, more or less, because you're finding that inner state of peace and bliss and rest is so, what would you call it, enticing, so capturing. The feeling of being able to drop into yourself, into the darkness of self, becomes an overwhelming happiness. Adam has a mirror that's bouncing an image onto the top of his car that's dancing around, dancing around. And it's, I think I can use it to go to sleep. Oh, that's a white thing. Yeah, okay, some sort of tag. Okay. Vesselina, what have you gotten out of this so far? Have you stopped thinking about your tests coming up?
Yeah, I was for a little bit. But no, I was actually thinking about that too.
How do you feel now you're back in the world?
Uh, well, I remembered that once he told me to take up drinking, not to think about my group.
Are you glad you didn't follow my advice?
Yeah. But I was never really tempted, so. But no, I now I just became worried why do you have to ask me these things? I was just feeling better.
Okay, sorry. I'll go away. You don't have to say anything.
Well, I didn't mean it that way, but okay.
Relax, everybody. Just relax. If you don't feel like saying anything, don't say anything. Don't bother your mind. with something just to entertain me or entertain yourself or entertain others by asking a brilliant question that you think maybe I've never heard before. Jay, your attention is all over the place.
Not really. I have on my other screen one of Robert's Satsangs, transcripted Satsangs, and every sentence is like a pure attainment. I mean, in a sense of the exquisite, the state of his amness, and as he describes the self of all, which is where you take me and took me today. So I'm not going to talk. When you come here and do this, it is just beyond words, and it's grace, and it's transportive in that you can do it, and you do it because you see us as the self of all, and there's no separation, and the attainment is exquisite, and it's bliss, and it's abiding. Absolutely exquisite, indescribable. Thank you.
Just relax. Yes?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Regarding Kriyaras from after having Shaktipats, using the classic Indian technique where the guru actually possibly, according to Anne Brennan, that part of their aura enters within you to stimulate that Kundalini within you. My own experience from having states of illumination, a bit like what Robert described and what Gopi Krishna described, when they started to phase out over the years of meditation, I decided I'd heard of Shaktipat. I just realized about Kundalini. I went to India and had quite intense Shaktipat over a period of 10 days. And I had very, very strong Kriyaras. That was over 10 years ago. Those Kriyaras quite often completely settle. Recently, they've become totally wild, and I'm getting like mental, emotional, and physical Kriyaras. So my body will start shaking, I'll burst out crying, I go into laughter, and then getting re-stimulations, almost like mental movies of things that have happened in the past with my interactions with other people, and actually seeing that those interactions, what their actual objective was within that I didn't see at that time. It's all very, very disturbing. It makes me feel very close to the edge and needing psychiatric treatment because it's so mental. I'm wondering if that ever goes or leaves me. It's almost like being possessed by this guru that actually gave me these initiations.
What would possess you? What would be the thing that possesses you in the state? Just habit?
No, sorry?
Just habit?
I don't know what it is. What it does do is it very much forces you into being the witness of what's happening as you're experiencing that. So it's like it's good that I have that detachment. I know there's something that's happening within me doesn't seem to be part of me, but it's so strange to experience that emotional, especially the out of controlness that comes through with those really strong Kriyaras.
Okay. And what do you want to know?
Well, I want to know how will I ever be free from that? you know, is this going to pass? This has been over 10 years now that I've been experiencing this, and recently they've become very intense.
Well, I can't really speak for your future. I'm not even aware of what I'm going to be doing in an hour. So you came to the wrong teacher, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing or where I'm going.
Hmm.
And it's a wonderful feeling of feeling free, of thinking. Thinking is so painful. And I did it most of my life as an academic and all that. So there comes a time, at least there was for me, where I didn't need to do anything anymore. I mean, there was nothing to accomplish. I had accomplished what I was setting out to do a long time ago, which is to understand me and realize it's not in understanding, it's in resting yourself and learning how to relax completely. Because with that comes peace, and the wholeness of everything in you becomes one whole. Every part of you is part of it, and it has its place in you, and you're comfortable with the place it's come to you in, and you're comfortable with the states that pass through you constantly, including the meditation state. It's, I don't know, I guess for me, it was like an acceptance of everything I found within me. And because I was only looking at me, I wasn't looking at the world much anymore. But the rest came when the meditation became so wonderful. I didn't need to pursue anything else. I didn't need to speak about anything else. I didn't need to pursue anything else. I could just rest in me. And that was enough, because I do it most of the time, all the time now, even if I'm speaking with you or anybody else, I'm just resting in myself. And that's how I feel, is rested. And I check my body out and I can't find any tension anywhere, except maybe after doing a lot of activity. I have secondary tension around the activity. But the key is to acquire an entire rest in what you're doing and who you are, even if you don't know who you are, because that's knowing too. I don't know. I don't know. And to be comfortable with I don't know, because it doesn't matter anymore. Whether you're up or down, sleeping or awake, meditating or cogitating, it's all the same. It's all okay. Everything's okay the way it is, whatever situation you're in. So it's not like you attain something after 15 years or 20 years of meditation, but what you acquire is a thorough immersion in the entirety of yourself. Because doing meditation over years brings on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different states of being. And many of them are attractive and will attract your attention. You'll get diverted from doing good meditation to paying attention to what you're attracted to. That's okay too. It's all okay. That's what I found out. It's all okay. I don't have to worry anymore. I don't have to strive anymore. I can just be. Just be. And it means giving yourself a lot of space to be able to do anything, anytime, anywhere. But that doesn't mean you become comfortable being a mass murderer, but if that's your bob, you'll probably do that anyway. And it won't bother you. You won't get a thrill out of killing, but you won't need to do it anymore. You won't need to kill people anymore because you feel arrested in yourself. You feel resting in yourself. Does that help in any way?
Thank you.
Does that bring up any questions for other people?
Can a mass murderer be enlightened?
Sure. But there's not a lot of them around because there's not a lot of mass murderers around anyway. You can become comfortable killing, just like soldiers in a war can get sort of comfortable being in the war, to the sense that somebody new to the unit may be feeling terrified or very uneasy about what's happening. But there'll be guys that are there smoking and eating and joking with each other and making bad jokes, talking about women, whatever. Talk just like being an ordinary person. And it won't bother to them anymore. It's not, they have to escape this in order to find a deeper state or anything like that, because you're always in that deep state, in a sense. You're aware of the calmness and the life force inside of yourself. And it's really a remarkable thing, becoming aware of yourself, the thing you are when you're at rest, what you are, and the feeling of being that, the feeling of being so deep in yourself that it's so much rest there and so much happiness there. Just being yourself. Just being yourself. You don't even have to meditate anymore, in a sense, because it makes no difference anymore. Being out of meditation is formal meditation, and being in it become the same. You accept everything the way it is. Your acceptance increases. And you're happy no matter where you are or what you're doing. Well, maybe it's a lie to an extent, because if it's a pounding rainstorm in the middle of the night, I wouldn't want to be outside walking around when I'm freezing and wet. I would try to escape that. But I guess anything short of that, I'd be comfortable with. But if somebody is shooting arrows at you, I'd certainly move very fast away or respond with my own gun rather than a knife or bow and arrow. I'd be a more effective killer. How's that? More effective murderer. One of my good friends is Swami Shankarananda. I've known him since early 1980s, maybe as early as 1978. He had a small ashram in Los Angeles. And I notice he's quite busy. At least he appears to be that way. But when I knew him personally, he loved to meditate. He found it, like me, very peaceful, very restful, very large and expansive. Because that darkness that you experience grows and grows and consumes everything. And you're very comfortable in that darkness and that emptiness. And you don't want to do anything. But he doesn't seem to have any problem being really active and at the same time the head of a fairly large Zen center. Others that I've known appeared far more peaceful than Shankarananda did. These were the ones, the teachers that were from India. They appeared to be very rested at all times. And I think that's the greatest accomplishment that I've found out of years of being in spirituality, is finding out it's all okay. No matter what I do, it's all right with me now. I don't really question it, but I don't flaunt it either, because flaunting it causes its own problems. People want to take you on. There's always somebody that wants to take you on. So don't give them the satisfaction of mixing with them. Does that help you in any way? My computer here tells me there's 19 people attending, but I can only see 12 at a time. It's 12. So I don't know who's all here or who isn't here. So the person that's not here that I can't see, please say you're here. That's a joke. When I was a kid in school, in the grade school, I was very interested in learning. And I always wanted to sit at the front of the class because at that time I had undiagnosed short-sightedness. I didn't get glasses until maybe I was around 18 or 20 or even later than that. So I had a hard time seeing. And I tried to get at the beginning of the class, the front lines of the rows in the class, so I could see what was being written on the blackboard instead of straining by creating a knothole to look through, which does some focusing, and I don't know how that works. And I don't care to know that now. Back then, I thought it was an interesting problem. Eddie, what are you about? What's going on with you? You're on some train somewhere? A bus?
I'm in an airport.
Where are you going?
Oh, I'm working at the airport as TSA right now.
TSA? Is that a company or a position?
It's a like position, like we're the people that hassle you at the airport before you get on the plane.
Do you enjoy hassling people?
Not really, but I find that it's made me like forced to like socialize with people, which is probably a good thing for me. But it's been going pretty smooth so far. Like everyone I interact with's been pretty nice to me as far as like the passengers.
Good for you. Just relax. All day long on the job, you do your job and be aware of yourself, your body, as much as you can. And that's all you have to do for non-meditation times, is just be aware of where you are and how you feel. That's part of the thing of meditation. It turns your attention around so you're no longer centered on the world. You couldn't care less about the world after a while, but you are very much aware of yourself. You continue to be aware of yourself and the small changes in the tension in your body and in your mind. And you're able pretty much to control them by stopping them. You just stop it. By being aware of it, you stop it. That doesn't work for the first 10 years or so. Now, how does the idea that it takes 10 years or better to learn how to meditate, does that right away speak to you about something not worth doing? No answer. You're all happy. You're all happy.
I'm not happy because I'll be dead before 10 years. Very likely.
Where are you? I can't see you.
Claudine again. The French one in England.
Okay, tell me about your discomfort.
Well, lately you've been saying that it'll take 10 years or, and I need to be doing it 3 or 4 times a day for 10 years. And being nearly 77, I'll be doing it for another life at this rate.
There you go. You've guaranteed yourself another life.
Well, that's not much good, is it? I shouldn't have said
No, it isn't. Something to be gotten rid of.
that. And
Well,
because I'm awake all night, I tend to fall asleep in satsang and also when I'm meditating in the day. So
it's a very common thing.
yeah,
That will pass. That will pass.
okay. I mean, at the moment, it's a relief to be able to sleep during the day,
Yeah.
even for like
So you come
minutes.
to satsang so you can get some sleep?
Yes, and no, but I am grateful for that bit as well. Thank you very much. I haven't meditated this much in my whole life since I met you. I've been doing the half an hours because other teachers I've had have told me to do an hour and a half or 2, and it just put me off doing it altogether.
Oh, no, 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 no. When you meditate that long, you're essentially doing effort. It's not restful at all.
No, it's
The
very
rest,
struggle.
the rest comes really after about 15 minutes in meditation and extends to the end of it. But if you go longer than that, you can have problems. Problems relaxing, all kinds of problems from meditating too much or too long. So the shorter periods are better because you get to pass from that agitated thinking state into the calm, deep state of meditation. And as a beginning meditator, or even one that's been doing it a few years, you want to get a repeat of that experience of dropping into nothingness over and over and over again until you can't wait to get home to do meditation.
Yeah, it feels much more like wanting to do it since doing it for half an hour. It makes a huge difference.
It does.
Yeah.
I would even suggest as little as 25 minutes at a time, and to do 5 minutes of walking. After that, kinhin, go to the bathroom if you want, then come back and sit for another 25 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you for
And
that.
then another, because this is about the time they use in Zendos, at least in the ones I've been in, is the sesshin. That's when you have the intensive sitting instructions with a lot of meditating, and getting a koan from Roshi. You sit for 25 or 30 minutes, but you do it off and on all day long, except from the time where you're at lunch or after a day's end, and you start relaxing so you can go to sleep. So I think 25 to 35 or 40 minutes is as long as you should do it. Any more than that in a single sitting, you get dull. Your mind gets dull. I remember I had to spend a long time relearning how to use my mind because I had been meditating so much. It was gone. I didn't know who the fuck I was or where I was. And I couldn't perform anything that was meaningful in terms of a work or anything like that. So multiple sessions of 25 to 35 minutes is probably optimal. At least it was for me. And you will develop a lot of power from that. The things that used to bother you won't bother you anymore. The efforts you make during working in a work day won't bother you anymore. You just do it because it has to be done by maybe a certain schedule or something like that. You just do it. And you don't take it as somebody robbing you of your time of being alive, because you're experiencing a different kind of aspect of life. But overall, I guess the abiding truth is just learn how to relax, and that it reinforced over and over again for 3 or 4 times a day doing half-hour meditation takes over your life, and you become happy, maybe a little dull because there's something you really want to say. Talking about yourself becomes very hard. Not for me, because I've explored myself my entire life, even before I started meditating. And back then, I thought everything I did was very important. Now, I know nobody else gives a shit, and I don't give a shit either. So we're a crowd of one, all with the same attitude about me. Don't worry about it. Nobody's paying attention to you. They're paying attention to themselves, but they're not doing it the right way because they haven't learned to pace it. Pace yourself. Right now, for example, I'm trying to increase my activity level because I find it very easy to do nothing. But at 81, I think I should be able to have that for myself as much as possible. That brings up the story I've told you before about the Zen master in Japan. After there was an army invading from a different province with a different emperor, and he was in the Zendo, the only one. And the enemy general comes in. He pays him no heed. He probably wasn't even aware that it was an enemy general. But the visitor noticed him, that he wasn't reacting at all to his presence. That got him upset. So he challenged him. And the Zen master said back to him, "You couldn't kill me, and I don't care. Go ahead, do it. I get to see what it's like. I get to see what dying is like, and what extreme pain of having a sword thrust through my stomach or chopping off my head. I don't know how long I'd be aware of myself still being alive after my head was chopped off. But I understand from what I've been reading now is that people who are dead, at least for a time afterwards, realize everything that had happened, even if it came as a bullet in the head out of the darkness, least expecting it. So Eddie, you're not dead. You just look dead. Chris, how are you doing?
I relate so much to so many things you said. And start off with something funny. When you're talking about your eyesight, when I was a little kid in elementary school, I didn't know I couldn't see well either. I just sat in the front, and every time we had an eye exam at school, they tell you to read the chart. I would just memorize what the kid in front of me said. Then one day, I was the first in line, and the guy said, "Read the chart." And I said, "What chart?" So, but I really relate to
Exposed.
I was exposed. I didn't know I couldn't see. I just thought everyone saw like that. And what this one thing I think about the meditation length and duration, I think what I'm finding very helpful is like mini meditations, just throughout the day, constantly just drop, do something, drop, do something, drop, to just keep. And then, like you
That's
said,
very good practice.
because I'll find my mind starting to take over, or I'll find myself paying too much attention to it, and I'm starting to learn how to catch that, and just for a couple of minutes, or even seconds, just constantly drop, and then, like you said, also, I really look forward to the times when I can just sit and relax. But the mini meditations are really great for just keeping that momentum going. And
That's right.
Another thing, we talked for like an hour and a half on how to meditate, but for me, the best way to basically close my eyes and see what happens, without any intent, without desire, without any judgment. And that's been hard for me to learn, is not to judge what I'm experiencing when I'm meditating, because sometimes a thought or a feeling, like you said, the insecurities they could come up in these, and to not judge that, but just to be with it and let it happen it's a challenge, because when I'm meditating and an unpleasantness will come up, I don't want that. I want to relax and feel good. But I'm learning little by little as I do it, that unpleasantness really isn't unpleasant. It's just
Different.
It's just different. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything whether it feels good or unpleasant. It's just one more experience passing through my awareness. And that's, again, without judgment of what I'm experiencing. Not having judgment of what I'm experiencing in meditation is, I have to catch that when I want something in meditation, rather than just letting the meditation happen. And I've noticed that I'll close my eyes, and the first thing I notice is my mind. And sometimes I'll judge that and think, oh, that's wrong. Don't do that. I should be quiet and meditating. But then if I can step back from it and watch it, it'll all of a sudden just go away. And I'm in the open nothingness, where it's not that the thoughts go away. It's just they don't become the center of attention anymore. They just become one thing in the awareness rather than the awareness. They're like the main thing in the awareness.
That's good. You're doing well.
And coming here, I feel like I get deeper with you, but I'm feeling I can get deep with my cat too.
Yes.
That's one thing that sets the duration of a meditation is if you have a cat on you, you can't get up yet. The cat determines your length of meditation.
Yeah,
And
that can be done. Yeah.
And their purr. Oh man, the purr.
Yeah.
The vibration of the cat.
Yeah.
Point
Well,
is,
you'll begin to feel that in yourself if you're not already feeling it when you're in meditation. Your own vibration.
Not so much my own vibration. I usually get just an open nothingness. I haven't experienced an inner vibration yet.
It's not a vibration. Let's say it's a sense of presence.
Okay.
It gets stronger though when there is vibration, and then it weakens too when you do it in busy environment.
That's another challenge is if there's things going on in the house or noise, or we got some construction going on here, to get quiet in the midst of activity, other people's activity, is challenging.
No, you just open your door and say, shut the fuck up. Buy a gun too and shoot it in the air. Then the cops will come for you and put you in jail, and you won't have to do anything anymore except fight off other prisoners when they want something.
I think I'd rather take the challenge of the construction over the jailers. And they don't have cats in jail.
What a shame. One of the reasons not to go to jail.
You betcha.
Mr. Wheeler, can you tell me about yourself?
What do you want to know?
Who you are, what you are, why you are. Do you
No
believe
idea.
in God? You believe in yourself? Good. You have no idea. That's good. That's the right answer. What's your spiritual background?
Great grandfather came from a very poor family, made his fortune from dowsing, from water, got involved in local politics, paid everybody to vote for him, so he was a bit of a crook actually. Got voted mayor. My grandparents were Christian spiritualists. They used to sit in seances a lot. My mother used to tell me stories about that sort of stuff. At the age of about 13, I met a born-again Christian who said he was ex-mafia gang member, asked me to pray with him, and he said, knock and you shall receive, and this, that, and the other. And I went into spiritual illumination when I was about 13. And then I took a lot of drugs and met my wife and cut all that out and just became a bit of a hippie, smoking lots of cannabis and drinking lots of alcohol. I became a professional hypnotist, became a hypnotherapist, and then became a professional stage hypnotist. And then started to look at meditation, and from practicing Chilcock Sui, from pranic healing, the meditation of the twin hearts, experienced full-blown illumination. I had like internal atomic explosion, and my consciousness expanding continually out to the boundaries of the universe. And that totally changed my life forever. I went into a Priory rehabilitation center, stopped drinking drugs and alcohol. That's over nearly 30 years ago now. Stopped the hypnosis. I became a stage hypnotist. I was very successful. And over the years, I experienced lots of times of illumination and been on this path. I very much like the Hindu philosophy. A lot of my interest is drawn towards that. I've tried all sorts of different meditation techniques and different mantras, and looked at Buddhism, looked at Hinduism, looked at Christian mysticism, read so many books and all the rest of it. And as I said, about 10 years ago, I went to India and had Shaktipat. And I still got that addict within me. I didn't have Shaktipat just from one person. I had Shaktipat from quite a lot of different people. My Kundalini is still fairly active, I believe, but I don't really understand any of that stuff. And I'm still, practicing my sadhana. I totally agree about the thing with meditation. I only do half an hour now. Sometimes I used to sit for up to 2 hours. But I've joined a lot of the organizations, the Self-Realization Fellowship, Paramahansa Yogananda, Rosicrucians, Arcane School, Alice Bailey and stuff. But they're all gearing towards what I've always thought was this eventual goal of actually the mystical marriage. And I've experienced that. So is there anything else beyond that? I don't know. So I still sit every day, but not so long now. And what I've really gained from you today, and I'm very aware of, is stop being so hard on myself and relax. And that's what I need to do. Let go and relax.
Yes. Well, good. Glad to see you. Happy to see you.
Yeah, happy to see you too, Ed.
Did you ever meet Krishnamurti?
I didn't know. But shortly after I experienced the illumination, several books came to me that were very pertinent, and one of them was Krishnamurti, and the other one was Paramahansa Yogananda and Raja Yoga by Swami Vivekananda. And the reason those books came to me was because I had this thing in my mind about the hypnosis. Was it right or was it wrong? Because I had a natural knack. I've still got that natural knack of being able to put people into very, very deep symbolism. I ran some meditation classes just before the COVID lockdown and all the rest of it. And people were going into illumination from that. So I believe I was to do some sort of Shakti, but I don't want to do that. I don't want the responsibility of waking people up, because I find that difficult myself to cope with. I wouldn't want somebody else to suffer. because it's not, although it's just, the bliss is unbelievable, but there's the other side of the coin where it can be very, very painful as well, from my own personal experience. And for me, it's taken me very close to the edge of my sanity. I've never been sectioned or anything like that. But I have had. When I came back from India, I actually went for a psychiatric assessment, which is meant to be half an hour, and it was 4 hours later. I got up and walked out because I'd had enough. The person that was interviewing was just basically interested in telling the stories about, Kundalini Tantric Shaktipat, telling me how you shouldn't have anything to do with that. Tantrics can sort of make you walk across the road underneath a car if they wanted to, pretty crazy stuff. So, sorry, Ed, what was the question?
I don't remember.
So, no, so, yeah, still on the journey.
Good for you.
Can't stop.
Good for you.
Can't stop. I find gratitude is a prerequisite to love and the heart. What I liked and what I'm grasping now very much is to still the mind. The greater the awareness, the less the thoughts. When there's more awareness, whether it's of the body or of awareness of the thinking or awareness of the emotions, the more awareness you have, then the quieter the mind becomes, from my own experience. And for me and the lady, Claudine, I believe with the meditation, it might take 10 years, but it could take 10 days. It's like cracking the shell of a nut. Sometimes that nut will just split with one blow of the hammer. Another nut will take 100 blows. But I believe that meditation isn't something we do. I don't think it's something you can teach anybody. I believe you can teach them the technique for the meditation happens. And I don't know how it happens. And quite often I think, oh, how did I do that? Because I haven't done anything. It's done it to me. So I'll shut up now, let somebody else speak. Thank you, Ed.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy. Anybody else want to say anything? Or shall I just let everybody go and we can be relaxed? Okay, I'll let everybody go. I love you all. Today is Wednesday, and Vesselina made sure that I'd come by phoning me a couple hours ago and saying, don't forget there's satsang today. I appreciated that because I might have forgotten about it. Thank you all. Hope you come next Sunday. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Just relax. Just relax.